Hi, this is Marlene Portnoy,
And Martens Myung of Meanstreak.
and this is We Go to 11.
Radio Amor. Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
It's good catching up with you. I gotten a chance to check out at least one of the tunes. I know Maria had sent that giant
Beaks.
beaks.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a good introduction. Is it pretty that particular tune, is it pretty I guess descriptive of what the EP is going to be? Because I know you guys reunited. You did a little bit of a tour, which, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But as far as the tune itself, I mean, does it pretty much, is that kind of the vein we're going with on this EP? And
Well, sort of in a way. We have two songs that we had written
Mhm.
back in the 80s. I would say they were written in the 80s. And then there's two other songs. I'm so sorry. I forgot to shut that off.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, no problem.
That was not smart. It's all in the same vein, but two of the songs are a little bit different. They're a little bit more moody feeling, I would say,
Okay.
than they are heavy and driving like the other two songs.
Okay. Real quick. So I know you guys did a reunion tour, right? And I
Yeah.
think you played some shows and was that kind of what motivated the new music, or was that also always kind of something you were juggling concurrently, let's say?
Now that all it kind of, in a way, it happened sort of at the same time, but the reunion was definitely happening
Mhm.
before
Okay.
we got the tour.
Ah.
So the tour all came after we decided we were going to do the reunion. Then the tour fell into our laps, and it was just like, wow, we're really doing this right now. We're going
There
out
was
on tour.
32 shows,
Yeah.
and it was 5 shows in a row.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was
Wow.
5 shows, a day off, 5 shows.
Right.
Yeah, from October and November, and it was amazing. I mean,
How much rust did you guys have to shake off? Because again, when a band's dormant for a little bit and then you reconvene, you have to rehearse. And then I know in talking to other musicians, over the years, is that they hit a certain stride so many shows in. So what was that like for you guys in terms of, shaking off some of the rust and
There was
stuff?
no rest. There was
No.
no rest. It was a whirlwind. We just went, and I don't think we realized how much work was involved, but we
Right.
just went with it, and we were so excited that I don't think we realized how tired and how worked we were until after the tour was over.
yeah.
I think that's kind of when it hit, but we just went full speed ahead and we just did it.
Also with that, I think part of that with his question is, like we hadn't played in a while.
Mhm.
We were playing every weekend back in the day.
Yeah, right.
But some members had been playing the whole time.
Right.
Some members, the two of us,
Right.
really played in 30 years. And when I tell you I hadn't played 30 years, the only time I touched a bass was to pick it up and move one
Oh,
out of my
geez.
way at home.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, and basically you were pretty much the same. It was almost
Exactly,
that,
yeah.
So
Wow.
So all of a sudden it was like, we need to get in shape. So it was just like, go,
Right.
go, every minute of every day, all day
yeah, that was a
long.
lot.
Was it almost like I know when you learn how to ride a bike, you can go months, years without doing it. Was it something like that with the instruments?
I know.
Did you guys pick it up
I
and
mean-
go, whoa?
Sort of, but no.
No.
Exactly, sort of, but no, like
Right.
some parts of it definitely will, like after like 5 minutes, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I
Okay.
remember this. I've got
Right.
this. But there was a couple of other parts, like, building back the strength in your arms
Mhm.
and the strength in your fingers, like remembering all of a sudden it would click, like, oh yeah, I remember those scales, or I remember those chords. Like that was like just riding a bike, getting back on,
Okay.
but definitely building up the strength. And those muscles do get weak
Oh, yeah.
after not
Right.
working for a
Sure.
while. Like your hand cramps a lot quicker. Your hands are cramping. Your forearm is cramping. Those muscles need to build back up. So in that part of it, like the muscles and all that was not like riding a bike and just getting back on. You need to build that strength back up.
So
But
that was more like working up to doing a marathon or something then.
yes, that you really need to work on that
Right.
part. But the remembering your, all of a sudden remembering parts of songs you played 30 years ago,
Hmm.
a lot of that was just like, oh yeah, that's right. Or, oh, I remember that chord progression, or yeah, I remember that solo or that scale or that comes back really,
Right.
really, really quickly. Really quickly.
Is there a little bit of a sense of unfinished business with the band here? Do you think?
I mean, I guess. I mean, we were
Yeah,
together for,
maybe.
a certain amount of time. We did a
Mhm.
record, we did tons of shows, and then life changes,
Right.
You're
Right.
older, you get married or
Yeah.
don't get married and you just move on and, you know, it just
This
goes through. But
is sort of an unfinished, well, maybe not really unfinished. I think we just all love being together
Mhm.
and we love making music so much. It was more of that sort of thing than an unfinished business. It was more like, we need to do this again. We love doing it so much
yeah.
that
Mhm.
we just need to do this again.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned 32 days and it was like I think you mentioned 5 dates in a row, which,
Oh, yeah.
is big. I mean,
They
you
are.
see a lot of these bands anymore don't do that kind of touring, back to back. They have to pace themselves and stuff like that. What was the reaction, from the audience? I mean, did you see a lot of the old schoolers and some of the new schoolers in there?
There was a lot of new schoolers. Like we were actually concerned because it was John Petrucci's audience.
Hmm.
So we were opening up for John Petrucci.
Right.
So we were very concerned. Like we are a thrash metal band from
Right.
the 80s. And this is John Petrucci's audience. So we were very concerned. Like, how are they gonna accept this different style of music
Hmm.
opening up for him? It's not in the same world.
Right.
And we were concerned about how we would be accepted, but they were the most awesome fans. They accepted us. They, for the most part, from what we saw, they enjoyed us. They liked
Hmm.
us. They were cheering us on. They were really an unbelievable bunch of fans, and it was an amazing experience. And I thank them all because they
Yeah.
made it just so unbelievable to be on that stage. It was wonderful.
Nice. You want to add anything to that?
It's one of those, like exactly what Marlene said. It's
Yeah.
one of those things like you don't expect, I mean, back in the day, we had our fans and it was our shows, or
Right.
we opened up for bands in the same, genre of music.
Right.
And we were concerned about it, but the overwhelming response from the audience was just unbelievable. That it was like, wow, it was just unbelievable.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were used to thrash audiences where there were no seats.
Hmm.
There was moshing, there was stage diving, there was, jumping on the stage, there was craziness. And now we were going to be put in front of, you know, a lot of prog
Right.
fans. But this is also John Petrucci's audience where they like
Right.
guitar playing and more metal. But still, it was a seated audience. So we were like a little confused, like, oh, is this going to
Sure.
go over? They were
They
great.
were amazing.
They really accepted us. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
So would it take like a couple songs for them to kind of warm up to things or what was that like?
It didn't even
Not
seem
really,
like a couple of
no.
songs. It's
Okay.
like we came out, and for the most part, they were just like, yeah,
Yeah,
right away.
Right.
At least most of the places that we were
Yeah,
at was that kind of response.
I'm not sure. Part of it was, the novelty of it, wanting to see us
Hmm.
being, three members married to Dream
Right.
Theater, or
Sure.
just out of curiosity. But basically, the seats were all filled pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
by the time we went on every night. Usually,
Yeah.
the opening act, you don't have that luxury of
Right.
all seats being filled unless people really know who you are.
Hmm.
And basically, every night, almost all those seats were filled already by the time when we went on. So that alone, was pretty incredible.
That was another shocking thing. We're like, wow, they're here.
Yeah,
For
it's
the
not playing
support band. What's going on?
there's no
Right.
crickets
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right, right. Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, I think oftentimes I go to shows and the support band, there's 25 people there or something, and then it
Yeah,
fills
that's
up as they
another
get
thing we
there.
were
Yeah.
thinking would happen, and that did not happen at all, ever, ever.
Nice.
Not one show was like that.
So with the EP, Blood Moon, right?
Yes,
Coming out next month. I guess
February 2nd,
February 2nd. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
not really that far out. I mean, it's a couple
Next week.
weeks. It is
Next
next
week.
week. Oh, boy, it is next week. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. I mean, time flies. This month is already blown past, and there's something about as you get older, I think time flies a lot quicker, and I'm experiencing that. So the EP, why an EP versus a full length? Or is this just kind of testing the waters as well? Because it is a different time in terms of like, how bands release music and put it out there for fans and stuff like that.
I think that's more what we were going for, because a lot of bands don't put out full-length EPs right now, especially as full-length albums, especially as something that's coming out that we haven't released anything in 28 years, 30
Mhm.
years. Why go ahead and just do a full-length album? A lot of bands are even releasing just a single to see how things go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we decided on just, let's do an EP and kind of test the waters and see how things go.
Mhm.
And then we'll take it from there, and we'll see if we
Yeah.
like it. We'll go back in and do more songs, maybe a full album, maybe just a couple more songs. Now you have the luxury of iTunes and everything. We can
Right.
put out 2 songs, we could put out 4, we could put out 6, we could put out 1. We could do whatever we want, you
Mhm.
know?
Nice. Did you document any of those shows that you did earlier on that couple month tour? I mean, 32 dates, I think you said. So,
I cannot believe I'm going to answer this question.
uh-oh, let's hear. Oh, is it a stupid question? Maybe it is. I don't know.
No, it's actually a great
It's
question.
it's a great question, but the answer is going to be, so we have no idea why
Hmm.
we do not have a video, an official video that documented any of those shows.
Huh?
I think it all happened so fast. Like I said, when we decided to do the Meanstreak reunion, we were not expecting to get to go out on tour, or at least get to go out on tour so quickly.
Mhm.
And thanks to John and Raina that we did get this incredible opportunity.
Mhm.
It's all because of John. And we just, I don't know how, and I don't know how to answer this, and we don't know why we didn't document it,
Right.
but we didn't.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we have nothing but fan footage.
Okay.
And luckily for those fans that did film it, we have to thank them
Yes.
inside
Sure.
and out, because
Very-
we have
very true.
nothing.
Yeah, it was just, I think it was just that it was so much, 3 of us on the East Coast and 2 of us on the West Coast, and
Okay.
they're not even near each other.
Right.
So getting everything together and combining everything, and after having
So
not played for
much.
so long, it
Mhm.
really, and it was, pretty major tour,
Right.
like I said, for the, 5 nights in a row and for
Mhm.
the whole 2 months. It just wasn't something,
just-
after not doing it for so long, we never really thought about
Right.
it. And when we did, at that point, it was a little too late.
Yeah, it was like too late. We were like, why don't we have like a video crew? Why didn't we think
Mm-hmm.
of this? Why didn't we do it? And then it was over, and we were like, wow, we really dropped the ball in that department. So
Hmm.
it is what it is. And
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds to me like you guys were just happy to be there, and that was
we
kind of
were,
Oh,
it,
yeah.
right? I mean, it sounds like that's it.
I mean,
Yeah. So, looking forward down the way, I mean, I would imagine you guys want to do this again, get some more touring behind you, or is that not in the
Oh,
works at the
absolutely.
moment, or what? Oh, it is. Okay.
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Would you do another 32 date tour? I mean, that sounds
Oh,
pretty
a heartbeat.
extensive by this day and age.
Yeah, we would like to play. We would like to do whatever should come our way. We're looking into a lot of different options at this point. Yes, a
Okay.
lot of different options.
What
this
about
point.
so any I know you have you released a video, right? A teaser video,
A
I think,
teaser,
for
yes, we
the
released a teaser
but
video.
is there a chance there's going to be some performance footage type videos?
Well, again, we have nothing in terms of videos other than we could do, pictures and stuff. But
Mhm.
I mean, maybe down the road, we may all get together. And again, like Lisa said, we are on each coast. We got
Right.
East Coast and West Coast. So
Yeah.
we would really have to put something together where we can all be in the same area, get that going. Right now, we just want to get the EP out. We want to see where that goes and where that brings us. I mean, that may bring us all together. There could be a tour in the works. There could be something happening, and then we
Yeah.
would put the video together.
Luckily, there's a page that within 24 hours of the Giant Speaks coming out, did their own video with
Oh.
all, they found shots.
Oh, no
that
kidding.
some
Like
photographers
like a
immediately
fan?
posted
A
and-
fan.
oh,
fan,
Fan
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I got to
there is
track
a
that
Giant
down.
Speaks, I believe,
What was it
I
called?
think it's called She Rocks.
Yes,
The
She
page
Rocks.
She Rocks ROX.
Oh, okay.
And that's
I'll
their
look it up.
thing. I guess they do all, and they did a wonderful video. I think we had posted that also. It came out
Yeah.
like
I'll have
the
to look
pictures.
Yeah, Mike did it. Mike created something that he
So we all
took
shared.
their video and then we all shared it on our stuff. And whoever did it, She Rocks posted it. It's all pictures that they pulled together and made it a really nice video. It was great. That's the most we got
Yeah.
right now.
I mean, but it's amazing what you can do these days, with technology. It's like you have people in different parts of the world filming their performance footage and then they merge it and it looks like it's, like they were in the same room or whatever. It's pretty cool.
Crazy. It's
I mean-
amazing. Yeah.
So is there any particular advice that you guys have gotten that from your respective husbands, that you guys use to this day?
Any advice
Not
from our
really.
husbands?
Yeah, whether it's musically or otherwise.
Let me think about this because I'm always getting advice from Mike. But one would be don't stop playing for 28 years.
Yeah.
That would be one
That's a good one.
really good piece of advice.
Yeah, no kidding.
Never put down your instrument
Yeah.
ever. Always play, always, even if it's just sitting while you're watching TV. Never put down your instrument. Big mistake. No, my husband doesn't really ever give me advice.
Yeah.
He does, but there's so much. I don't know I don't know from the basket of advice Mike gives. What does Mike always tell us to do?
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, suggestions, if you asked for something, I would.
Right.
If I
If you have a
asked him-
question, then more.
Well,
so than-
like for example, we saw that video and Mike was like,
Oh, okay.
okay, this is what you
Yeah.
got to do. And he like grabbed my phone and all my devices and showed it, you got to share this, you got to do that, you got to do this.
And
This
have
is what you have to
everything
do. This is not the 80s. This is the way you have to do
Right.
things these days. That type of advice he always gives me on how to promote yourself on social media. You're not going to go out and hang a flyer on a telephone pole
Right.
like you did back in the 80s.
And have
um,
somebody either tear it down or plaster
Yeah.
their own flyer
Yeah.
over it. Yeah, no
Um,
kidding.
But he doesn't really in terms of performing on stage or anything. No, he doesn't give any. You just move around, smile,
Just move
and
around.
move
Yeah.
around and smile, and that's it. Don't be
Now-
a statue.
Now I was gonna ask.
I mean, we were physically a band before we
Before
ever
we
knew
even met
any
them.
of them, or and had done
Okay.
tons and tons of shows before we even
We
know
even knew who they
Okay.
were.
was. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like we actually, Mike and I were just reading a few before he went to NAMM, a few comments, and someone was like, "Oh, at this part of Giant Speaks sounds exactly like Meanstreak ripped off the Mira, and Meanstreak ripped off this."
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't even know that.
There was one.
And
that was
that's
first
and Mike
round.
went on and wrote. He was like, actually, Meanstreak should be suing Dream Theater because those songs were written long before they even knew any of us.
Well, it might
The
be
Mirror
known-
was written long after Giant
Yeah,
Speaks.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
The Mirror was written way after
Yeah.
the original version of Giant Speaks was, because we were re-recorded two of the songs that were written back then.
Hmm.
We put it on the EP. We re-recorded them for the EP. We did not just
okay.
re-release them. We re-recorded them.
Re-recorded them.
Mhm.
But you guys have a well-known producer that worked on this music with you guys. Tell me about that one, and how far do you guys go back with him?
Oh, we go back with Alex Perelis all the way back to 1980. We got in the studio with him in 1987 or 88 was
Well,
that.
that record came out in 88. It was done in
88 was Roadkill. Yeah.
87, 'cause it took a while.
Right, and
So-
he also did the demo that
The
had
demo
the
was after
original
that, yeah.
version of Giant Speaks, because like I said, we had the original version, which we did not use on this demo. We re-recorded it
Okay.
because the album so basically how we met Alex Perelis was we were playing at this club in Brooklyn called L'Amour's,
Mm.
where everybody here knows L'Amour in
Right.
Brooklyn. And we got a record deal through L'Amour's we got on the L'Amour Rocks album,
Oh,
which led us to getting a record deal with Mercenary Records in the United States and Music for Nations in Europe. And they sent us down to Alex Perelis, who used to do Anthrax's albums and
Mhm.
Overkill's albums and everybody's albums.
right. A lot of thrash history there.
Yep, a lot of thrash history. It was Alex and Rob,
Yeah.
Rob Wacko Hunter.
Oh yeah, right.
And we did our very first album there, and we learned a lot from working in the studio. It was the first time we'd
Yeah.
ever gone in a studio. We were totally newbies. We didn't know what we were doing. We were 5 young girls that went into the recording studio, and we just let it out and just recorded. And we just
Nice.
went for it.
Yeah.
We were so young, so innocent. We didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
And Alex also did
Giant Speaks.
the Giant Speaks demos.
Oh,
And that was 1992 or 1989?
Giant Speaks had to be at least 89.
89. That might have been 89.
Oh, wow.
In the 89 demos.
wow.
So yeah, we had a great relationship with them. They were our guys. They did all
Right.
our music with us.
So I guess it was no-brainer. It had to be him that worked with you guys this go around.
It had to be because we were the original girl thrash band from the New York, tri-state area.
Yeah.
That was us.
And I have to sneak this in because, again, different time now. I mean, it's not that uncommon now to have an all-female act, band and stuff like that. But back when you guys were, kicking around the clubs and stuff like that, did you encounter any resistance, or was that just kind of out the window for you guys?
No, there was resistance. There was
There
some.
was some, like, I could name one, definitely a club in Yonkers. I won't mention any names. And
Yeah.
they were very like, oh yeah, whatever. Do you think you could ping in like 200 or 300 people on a Monday night? And we were fairly new, and we just looked at each other and said, yeah, sure, no problem. And we hung hundreds of flyers with
Oh,
pictures, and we brought
okay.
in probably good 200 or 300 people
Yeah,
on a
we-
Monday night, and they were like, oh, okay.
All
And
right.
we worked hard for that. Like I said, we were young. We didn't know what we were doing. And all we knew is we wanted to be in a band. We wanted to play thrash. And we just did whatever we had to get people to come to the shows. We went to venues. We hung flyers. We went to the venues we were playing at several weeks before. We walked around inviting everybody to the show because we were this female band. Nobody else was doing it in our area. And guys were like, yeah, right. And we had a lot of
Mhm.
covers that we would play. We'd pick out the cool Judas Priest songs
Ah.
with the dual harmonies.
Nice.
We'd play Iron Maiden. We'd play
Mhm.
Queensryche. We would play Metallica. And we'd see the guys standing there with their arms
Yeah.
crossed, just and the solos would come up, and then we'd see them go, whoa, yeah. The next thing you know, they're moshing, they're stage diving,
Right.
and the next thing you know, we had a huge following. And once they realized we actually could do more than just stand there and
Mhm.
attempt to play, they actually started coming, and we gained their respect, which they didn't have for us in the beginning, but we
Mhm.
actually gained it in the end. And we broke through that barrier that was there, and we
Yeah.
made them believe in us.
Yeah,
we loved,
that's
we had a lot of promoters and people working at clubs that after we played who really were behind us and got us a lot of really good
Yeah.
shows because we were a big draw.
Mhm.
And I think we were fairly easy to work with. And
Yeah, we got
everything,
along with
you know,
everyone. We played
yeah.
the Ritz, we played the Limelight, we played the China Club, we played CBGB's, we
were
did
always at L'Amour.
L'Amour in
Yeah.
Brooklyn, we did we opened up for everybody, all the big thrash bands. We had a really fun and great career back then
Yeah.
until Bush came in and took over, ruined the
Right.
business.
Right. Yeah, that was the huge changing of the guard, so to speak. Right.
Yes, it
Oh,
was.
definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that that's always pointed out that it kind of pummeled the 80s hard rock or glam bands, but you know, it also took its toll on the heavier stuff too. I mean,
Yes, it
you
did.
know, it impacted Anthrax and you know all the contemporaries there, you know, Overkill, you know, Slayer and stuff like that too. So, well, cool. So I think we've covered quite a little bit of ground. You know, the EP, Blood Moon, comes out in on the 2nd of February. See,
February 2nd.
that's not that far down. That's a week out, a week and a day. Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
So there were, and then we talked about you know how you guys reunited, the tour dates, potentially something in the works down the way after the EP's released. I'm guessing there's probably going to be a huge announcement. I hope to see you guys. I've never seen you guys live, but I'm out in the Northwest, so maybe you guys make it out to the Northwest. And it sounds like some of the band members are out in the West Coast, so fingers
Yes,
crossed
they are.
there.
Do it.
Talked about Alex, you know, and his involvement in the whole thing. I think the only thing I'll ask you guys, ladies, is, you know, since this is We Go to 11, you guys are familiar with Spinal Tap, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and do you have a particular Spinal Tap story that you would like to share? And then we'll call it good, and I'll have you guys do an intro and tell me who you are. And this is We Go to 11, and we'll use that for the front end of this whole thing.
Think
So
of some
you want-
Spinal Tappy situation. I
Yeah.
know one, but
Well,
think of one.
I can't think of I could think of thousands of situations, but it would take me too long right now.
all right.
My situation is, I say, 3 of us and 3 of them. That's always my.
Yeah,
spinal
that
tap
is a
you know,
pretty Spinal Tappy
you
story.
know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
It's
3 of us
crazy.
married, 3 of them. It was just, you know,
Yeah.
but
The best Spinal Tap story I could think of, unfortunately, was right before we got Lisa in our band, which actually that's a
okay.
pretty funny story in itself when we hired Lisa with my fuzzy slippers on. But the funny story was we had just formed the band and we went in, we had rehearsal space in New York City.
okay.
And it was with a bass player that we did not keep in our band. She just was not right for us. And it was right before we hired Lisa, who obviously was right for us.
Mhm.
And we were coming down in an elevator and the elevator got stuck for like an hour. We
Oh,
were
wow.
stuck and we were up in the elevator with the emergency buttons. We didn't know what was going on. We were just up there and we pressed the emergency button. So we're a band and we're up there with our instruments and we're singing songs and just hanging out up there.
Oh,
And they
wow.
finally get the elevator to move. And we get lowered down to the floor and it opens up. And there's a million like cops and fire engines and the
Oh,
street
geez.
is filled with the fire trucks and everybody had to get us out of the building and we're all just sitting there with like our guitars out singing songs. Hello.
Yeah,
Okay. Hi.
I'm assuming
She-
that was a rehearsal or recording studio.
Rehearsal studio, rehearsal
Rehearsal
studio. So that was one Spinal Tap one. The other quick one was we were auditioning Lisa behind this particular girl's back.
Right.
And she
Ooh.
comes driving up to rehearsal. And I'm in,
Walks in.
and walks in while we're auditioning Lisa for the
Oh.
part. I'm wearing fuzzy slippers.
Well, you were home.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And Lisa hands her bass.
She's like, I didn't know what to do. I'm
Yeah.
like,
We were all just standing there like,
oh, this is our
Hi.
bass player, Charisse. And I was like, hi, want to play? I didn't know what to do.
Oh, wow.
those would be two of the best
Yeah.
Spinal Tap moments of the band.
Yeah, but it was good because me and her wound up hanging out after that. We were friends for a while after that, so it was good. But it was
But
just-
she still got booted and we
Yeah.
still kept Lisa.
Well, it sounds like you made the best choice for the band.
We made
right?
the
Yeah.
best choice that
The
could have
best
been made.
choice. There we go. Oh my gosh. Hey, it was a blast talking to you two. I hope to do it again.